Imagine a waterway not just as long as the Panama Canal, but 3 times its length. An engineering marvel that would forever alter the map of Central America and the world's shipping lanes. This ambitious project would carve a bold new path between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, opening up a strategic shortcut for global trade. The proposed 50 billion Nicaragua Canal could completely reshape global trade routes, offering a new alternative to the crowded Panama Canal, and potentially transform the fortunes of one of the Western Hemisphere's poorest nations by creating thousands of jobs and attracting foreign investment. But this grand vision comes with a heavy price. The canal threatens catastrophic environmental damage, risking the destruction of rainforests, habitats, and the livelihoods of local communities. It could also ignite a new era of US-China rivalry in the region. This isn't just a canal, it's a geopolitical statement, a symbol of shifting power, and a high-stakes gamble with consequences that could ripple across the globe. The route would stretch an astonishing 278 kilometers, cutting directly through Lake Nicaragua, the region's largest freshwater lake and a vital resource for people and wildlife alike. Designed to accommodate the world's largest ships, the canal promises to revolutionize shipping between Asia, Europe, and the Americas, potentially reducing costs and transit times for countless industries. Yet, at its core, the canal is about more than commerce. It's about power. China's growing influence in Latin America directly challenging a century of US dominance in the region, raising questions about the future balance of power. Is this Nicaragua's long-awaited leap into prosperity, a chance to rewrite its destiny, or a dangerous folly with irreversible consequences for its people, its environment, and the world at large? The dream of a Nicaraguan canal is nearly as old as the European discovery of the Americas. Nicaragua's geography, Lake Nicaragua and the San Juan River, made it a logical route for a transoceanic canal. For centuries, empires and entrepreneurs eyed this passage, hoping to master geography for commerce and power. In the 1800s, the US and Britain vied for control, but political instability and engineering challenges stalled progress. The French failed in Panama, but their disaster paved the way for the US to choose Panama over Nicaragua. A clever campaign, highlighting Nicaragua's volcanic risks, helped sway Congress. In 1902, the US committed to Panama, and Nicaragua's canal dream faded into history. The world marveled at the Panama Canal's opening in 1914, while Nicaragua's vision was shelved, until now. In the 21st century, President Daniel Ortega revived the canal dream, seeking to lift Nicaragua from poverty and secure his legacy. The canal was sold as a national destiny, a sovereign leap into prosperity. Ortega needed a partner with deep pockets. Enter China. The HKND Group, led by Wang Jing, fronted the project, but Beijing's shadow loomed large. China's involvement marked a seismic shift, challenging US influence in Central America. The partnership was formalized at breakneck speed, with Nicaragua's legislature fast-tracking the deal. Critics saw Ortega consolidating power and granting extraordinary concessions to a foreign entity. The grand vision of redemption was clouded by secrecy, lack of debate, and fears for sovereignty and the environment. For many, the canal became a symbol of both hope and deep unease. Law 840, passed in days with little debate, granted HKND a sweeping 50-year concession, renewable for another 50. HKND gained exclusive rights to build the canal, ports, an airport, and more, with powers superseding Nicaraguan law. The company could expropriate land, set compensation, and was exempt from taxes and regulations. Critics called it a surrender of sovereignty, with Law 840 overriding constitutional protections and property rights. Tens of thousands, farmers and indigenous people, faced dispossession with no legal recourse. The master agreement was never made public, fueling suspicions of elite deals and hidden motives. Law 840 became a rallying cry for opposition, seen as a dangerous pact trading away Nicaragua's future. The canal's promise was overshadowed by fears of lost land, rights, and national control. Ortega's government and the Chinese-backed HKND Group made bold promises. The canal would double Nicaragua's GDP and lift millions out of poverty, transforming the nation's fortunes almost overnight. The project was hailed as a once-in-a-generation opportunity, a chance to rewrite Nicaragua's economic story and finally break the cycle of hardship that had gripped the country for decades. The canal was pitched as a silver bullet, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, attracting waves of foreign investment, and bringing modern infrastructure to every corner of the country. Supporters envisioned new highways, bridges, and bustling construction zones, all fueling a surge in national pride and hope. Its massive size would allow supertankers and container ships too large for the Panama Canal to pass through, capturing a new share of global trade and putting Nicaragua on the map as a vital shipping hub. Billions in annual revenue were projected, with futuristic new ports, a sprawling free trade zone, and tourism hubs promising to transform the economy. The vision was dazzling, and for many, it felt within reach. But skepticism ran deep. The $50 billion price tag dwarfed Nicaragua's entire GDP, raising eyebrows worldwide. HKND, the company behind the project, had no track record in mega projects, fueling doubts about their ability to deliver. Financing details remained opaque, with few clear answers about where the money would come from. Meanwhile, traffic projections were challenged by fierce competition from the Panama and Suez canals, as well as expanding U.S. rail routes. Critics warned of a looming white elephant, a half-finished canal, insurmountable debt, and the shattering of national hopes if the project failed to deliver. The promise of prosperity was real, igniting hope in many hearts, but so was the risk of economic ruin, with the potential to deepen poverty and inequality if things went wrong. Was this truly a path to growth and a brighter future, or just a shimmering mirage destined to fade away? The nation stood at a crossroads, its fate hanging in the balance. The canal's route would cut through Lake Nicaragua, Central America's largest freshwater source. Scientists warned of toxic sediment, oil spills, and invasive species threatening the lake's ecosystem. Rainforests, wetlands, and reserves like Indio maize faced deforestation and habitat loss, endangering countless species. The human toll was staggering. Up to 120,000 people, farmers and indigenous communities, faced displacement. Law 840 left them with little recourse, sparking protests and a powerful grassroots movement. The influx of workers threatened social disruption, crime, and the collapse of local communities. For the Rama and Creole peoples, the canal threatened cultural extinction, a modern form of colonization. The project's cost was measured not just in dollars, but in lost homes, heritage, and irreplaceable nature. The canal was a bold and audacious move in the ongoing US-China rivalry, a project that would reshape not just trade routes, but the very balance of power in the Western Hemisphere. It directly challenged a century of American dominance in Central America, a region long considered the United States' strategic backyard and sphere of influence. For China, the canal promised not only new, more efficient strategic shipping routes for its goods and energy supplies, but also a chance to bypass choke points and assert its presence far from home. It was envisioned as a showcase for the Belt and Road Initiative, demonstrating China's ability to build transformative infrastructure on a global scale. Beyond commerce, the canal hinted at a potential military foothold for China, raising concerns about future naval deployments and security dynamics in the region. For the US, this was more than just an economic project. It was a direct threat in its own backyard, sparking urgent debates and raising alarms in Washington about the erosion of American influence. Regional reactions were mixed and often divided. Costa Rica, for example, feared devastating environmental fallout, with activists warning of irreversible damage to rainforests and rivers. Panama, meanwhile, doubted the project's feasibility, but raced to modernize and keep its own canal competitive, wary of losing its status as a global shipping hub. Leftist governments in the region welcomed China's involvement, seeing it as a valuable counterweight to decades of US dominance and intervention. Others, however, saw only instability and the risk of big power rivalry spilling into their fragile region, threatening peace and sovereignty. The canal, whether completed or not, redrew geopolitical lines and forced every nation in the region to reconsider its alliances and strategies. Even as its future remained uncertain, the project left a mark, abandoned sites and unfinished dreams, but also new questions about the future of the Americas. Whether the canal was ever built or not, it undeniably shifted the balance of power, forcing both superpowers to rethink their roles in the hemisphere. The project became a powerful symbol of a new era of global competition, one where the stakes are higher, the players bolder, and the outcome uncertain. Despite a flashy groundbreaking in 2014, the canal project quickly stalled. Feasibility studies and environmental assessments lagged, and the 2020 completion date passed with little progress. Wang Jing's fortune collapsed in China's 2015-16 stock crash, gutting the project's finances. HKND downsized and went silent, leaving the canal in limbo. Political turmoil in Nicaragua, protests, crackdowns, and US sanctions made foreign investment even less likely. The government's focus shifted from grand projects to survival. As of August 2025, the canal remains a dream on paper, its legal concessions still hanging over threatened communities. Some say the project was always a political maneuver. Others believe China may revive it if the time is right. The silence now speaks louder than the initial fanfare. The Nicaragua Canal saga is a cautionary tale of ambition, geopolitics, and the high price of progress. The promised prosperity, jobs, and a modern economy. The risk environmental ruin, mass displacement, and lost sovereignty. The $50 billion gamble was always fraught, with doubts about its financial and social costs. Globally, the canal symbolized China's challenge to US influence, a new great game in Central America. Even dormant, the project has altered the region's geopolitical landscape. Today, the vision has faded, but the law and its legacy remain, dividing Nicaragua and leaving its future uncertain. The story isn't over. It's paused, with the true price of progress still unresolved. Who pays for ambition on this scale, and what is left behind?